over to you, mate. Review Echo because I made you watch it.
Okay, first of all, one of the weirdest moments was I used specifically in what the stinger you just saw, because she actually looks like she had physical release from gratification when she snaps that dude's neck. I was like, that's unpleasant. Is that good?
So what this is, guys, just as a quick aside to introduce this, if you didn't watch episode 94 of the H-Cast, which you should have done, I requested profusely Culture to watch.
You recruited the audience
Echo,
to make me
because there's no way in hell I was going to watch it. So there you go.
I'm just saying. You also recruited the audience to make me watch it. But anyway, back to
it. Absolutely, we bullied you. Yeah,
you
watched it.
I did.
So I didn't have to. And we're going to get your review now.
I did a review. Okay, and everybody should go watch the review. You should. It's a good review. But let's get to it. It's terrible. It's actually the second worst Marvel thing made. Somebody tried to talk me into it being the worst Marvel thing made. No. It is not. It's not Secret Invasion, which was the worst Marvel thing made. Technically, it's not even as. I mean, for television, the worst thing ever made is definitely Eternals. But no, rewinding.
Or the Inhumans. I think that Inhumans is also really high up on the list of shit Marvel. But anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Probably no. You're fine, Andre. You can always interrupt me. No, but seriously, it made no sense. One of the things it suffered from was very bad editing of the first episode. I tried to convey this. Maybe I didn't say it the right way, but literally the editing was done in such a way for the first episode that the show wears you out, because you have to fill in the gaps of what happened in this little girl's life to get her to the point where she was this terrible serial killer person for working for Kingpin, because that's what happens. Spoilers, everybody. But anyway, so you get to that point, and then she's finally told the truth, which is the person that killed your dad is the guy that's your pseudo guardian now. At this point, she's been twice orphaned. She had some miracle glass from nowhere show up and hurt her and harm her leg, basically making it so she lost her foot. Right?
Miracle glass.
Yeah, she was in a car with her ma, driving in a truck. Somebody cut the brakes instead of using the emergency brake, which is the next best brake. No. Instead, we take a moment out of the time to try to figure out how to not crash this car, to sign back and forth for 2 minutes, because you're not in immediate danger. Okay, maybe 2 minutes is hyperbole, but it was just, I'm like, why are we having a sign language conversation when you're in a life and death situation? First of all, if you're in an accident, sure, it seems like slow motion. It's not. So anyway, we get to that. And they're in a modern, well, not a modern vehicle, but a later model vehicle for the time. So they have all the safety implements and everything else, like seat belts and maybe not airbags, well, not then. But this happened like in the late 90s, early 2000s. And the truck gets hit, right? And somehow a shard of glass that definitely wasn't in the vehicle, because guess what? Safety glass has been a thing for a long time. Laminate glass has been in place for a long time. But a shard of glass is the thing that takes her leg. Yeah.
Right. One big shard of glass.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a dagger. But anyway, regardless. And the kid's not flipping out, by the way. She's not mute. She's just deaf. But she's not screaming her lungs off that her leg just got whacked. And I'll give them a little room there and say maybe she's in shock. But her mom's dead next to her, which she figures out pretty quick. And then she was able to audibly convey a little bit of upset there. Anyway, that's how she loses her mom. Then she loses her dad.
What is the story then? What's the story? Sorry.
Oh, she loses her mom and her dad. She, in times of severe stress, she experiences like almost hallucinations and things like that in very important moments of her life. So you're starting to see her explore this and find out that each of her ancestors is basically like giving her like genetic information or passing down their knowledge or whatever somehow.
Right.
And that
how does Daredevil come into
and
this?
then Daredevil's
Can I
only
just say one thing?
Yeah,
One thing to describe that. I am all the Jedi.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That does actually happen. So we'll get to that. That's at the very end. But when we get to the point where she's having a fight with Daredevil, that's the only time you see Daredevil. So you only see Ronan for a minute, which is Hawkeye. But you see him as his Ronan iteration. And the only time you see Daredevil is in this ridiculous fight where neither of them know why he's there, which is nonsensical.
Right.
And by the way, that fight.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Ask a question.
I just want to guide this a little bit because it's kind of all over the place.
I'm trying to stay in the place.
What's the point of the series? What's the plot?
Oh, the plot is
what's she trying to do?
She needs to get revenge on Kingpin for killing her dad.
So she finds out Kingpin killed her father pretty early on.
Yeah, Ronan tells
5 episodes.
Yeah, after like multiple cuts to get to that point in her life where again, not a lot is filled in.
Okay.
Then
she's just chasing down Kingpin. That's it.
No, she shoots Kingpin in the face. Like early in the show, just shoots him in the face. Apparently,
this is still recapping Hawkeye, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently near the eyeball. Right.
Right.
And then then she leaves after being. I guess she has a gash in her side or something, but she leaves and heads home. So she goes home. So when we get to episode 2, home, and she's starting to see all these visions and everything else. And she comes in contact with ancestors. And then we find out that her power base isn't the one that's from the comic books or even the one that is exactly identical to Taskmaster.
Of course
it comes from this supernatural hereditary knowledge of her ancestors.
So they were all superpowered, were they?
No, they just had a particular set of skills. Okay.
Like Liam Neeson.
Take it.
Anyway. Okay. And by the way, they bastardize a lot of Choctaw lore in order to give you this thing. And at the very beginning, and this, I don't know, Andre, if you watched it, you'll understand this.
I haven't.
Okay.
At the very beginning, you're doing it.
At the very beginning of this new Spotlight, which I'm going to call the Disney, oh crap, we made this and now we got to release it brand for Marvel. At the very beginning, it looks like one of the early scenes in Showgirls.
Oh.
Because while not explicit, it's next people in a golden cave. They're all golded up, wearing like gold, lame on their skin. And then you have a moment where she's Nefertiti, or one of these people is Nefertiti, and gets the little swirly thing on her hand palm. So you've got what do they call it? What was that? Moana. So you got Moana, you got this. They're like mixing up like all this lore, and then the mountain caves in on them instead of like the goddess being lifted up, and then all of them emerge magically in clean clothes from the collapsing mountain that they were a part of, and they're in human form as the Choctaw Indian. And of course,
this sounds fucking lame as shit, mate.
The person that says, "Follow me," is the woman. And so everybody follows this woman just because she said, "Follow me." Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. But back to the real part of it all. And again, you'll know what I'm talking about, Andre, if you watch the first 5 minutes of that thing. So you get to the second episode, and she gets fixed up by a friend of her Uncle Henry's who runs this roller rink. By the way, they didn't have to spend a lot of money because they spent an awful lot of time in this roller rink, the skate rink, for roller skates.
Yeah.
And they put on display a whole lot of diversity and all that. Yeah.
Let's just get right. Let's.
Well, no, I'm giving you the outline of the show.
I know, but it's holy shit. It's all over the place.
Roller rink fun time.
I don't want to break down of every.
And then one of the people at the roller rink betrays the uncle and tells Kingpin's guys that that Maya, otherwise known as
she died at the end.
Echo is there. I wish. Anyway, so Kingpin's okay after getting shooted in the face. Kingpin's fine. He's recovering in the hospital.
How's he fine?
I don't know. He's got a bulletproof brain.
Doesn't explain it.
Face?
Okay.
No.
Cut to the end. What happens?
Oh, in the end, you have a lot of disrespectful things. Oh, by the way, there were a lot of accommodating stuntmen. I just wanted to honor Critical Drinker here because from like the second episode on, it's all accommodating stuntmen. Of the 4 fights, the best one is with Daredevil when no punches land. Anyway, we're back to it. So anyway, the end. So we're at a powwow because we're going for all the stereotypes. And Maya, otherwise known as Echo, now channels all of her ancestors when they are outnumbered. All these guns faced at her and her entire family, right? And then outside, you randomly have RPG guy that's going to smoke the powwow, and a bunch of dudes in vans that are there to smoke the powwow. They kill everybody.
Cut right to the end. What happens? Who dies?
Oh, hang on. So,
hang on.
So just a minute.
So what had happened was
all the guns from and all men are shooting, ready to shoot with guns, and Maya goes, "I got this, bitches," and channels all her ancestors and gives the power of the ancestors and all of her abilities to her entire family, who start kicking dudes' asses like it ain't no thing. Like
spirits.
Like 90-year-old woman throwing dudes around like, they're freaking like crash test dummies, and like little girl person cousin goes
so
like
she gave them the power of Thor, like in Thor Love and Thunder.
It was Thor Love and Cancer. It was and she is the key to everything.
Lord of the Rings, Army of the Dead.
It's terrible.
Okay, so all right, cool.
So ultimately,
wait. And then the best thing is that after everybody's booties got kicked, right? All these dudes toast, right? Kingpin's like right there and goes to attack her, and she like blocks a couple things and then grabs his face, right? And then this green light dives into his psyche and fixes him. Right, and then like takes him back to his past and pulls all the bad out of his existence because his dad was abusive to him. That's why he's Kingpin. So he kills his dad. So anyway, pulls the bad out of Kingpin and then lets him go. And he's like, "What did you do to me, super cuck? What did you do to me?" And then he gets marched off, and then the police show up and they go get all the other bad guys, round him up. Yeah, that's it.
So was that the end?
That was the end.
Cool. No,
that was it.
You
each get one question.
This is a Marvel Disney show, so I figured by the end of this thing, she ultimately her whole goal that she ultimately becomes the Queen Pen, right?
Yes, that's actually part of the goals. She says that in the thing. She said the thing. She said the thing. Queen
Pin. By the way,
Queen Pin is this sign apparently. Either that or he's got a small peen. Kingpin's got I don't know what it was, but she.
All right, cool. Andre, do you have a question for Culture?
Yeah. What do I need to know for Daredevil? What kind of damage are we looking at here? That's going to be brought forward. Because I'm really not interested in this show per se. I'm interested in what's the level of damage that this is going to inflict
how connected
the future of the MCU.
Okay, so for something that's supposedly not connected because of Spotlight, it had 2 cameos of Hawkeye as Ronin and freaking Daredevil, plus Kingpin. Kingpin gets cocked for the second time, courtesy of Disney, in the show. How much damage does it do? It makes me way less interested in watching a Daredevil show now that I know this shit happened. Especially since she blew up the armory and a bunch of bad guys as part of her mission, to go to war with Kingpin.
All right. I'm never making you watch anything again.
Why?
I am. You're still watching the 7-hour cut of Rebel Moon.
No, I am not.
Yes, you can see it on the can. It's completely fine.
Dude, that's a long dump. That's like guaranteed hemorrhoids. But the chat's
I know. That's what that movie is going to do to you. So you'll be in the right place for it.
That was sounded terrible. Let's get some safe.
Nick, do you have any questions about Echo?
Queen Pen. That's all I needed to know. I'll never watch the show.
Oh god, it sounded awful.
It was terrible. Dude, I finished up and I had to take like a half an hour to watch somebody else suffer because Gary was doing his live review of episode 5. And I'm like,
well,
yes!
Jason Duggs out for £5 says, who the hell did the god awful fight choreography in Echo? Was it really that bad?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to tell you something. For the only time I've ever seen, truly, even in the Netflix Daredevil series, which is vastly superior to this garbage, right. I saw Daredevil move the way I'd always pictured him from the comics. He looked very Jackie Chan fluid and diving through things and moving over stuff and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of nonsensical stuff, and the fight choreography is complete garbage. But whoever was in that suit, if it wasn't Charlie Cox, kicked ass. And again, very accommodating because there were 0 blows landed, and it was quite obvious.
Terrible, then.
Oh, yeah.
Ministry of Wrongthink for $4.99 says Echo's native grandpa unironically mentions the Powerball within the first 10 minutes. No joke.
Yeah.
What
bad grandpa.
Show?
Oh, by the way, instead of bad dad, although it was a bad dad trope, there was also bad granddad trope. Well done.
Oh my God.